Good evening, ladies and gents, wherever you may be around the world. We were supposed to be doing a history stream this morning. We're going to postpone that until Friday British time, which will be Saturday morning for me. As a lot of you have probably heard, the American political commentator Charlie Kirk has been shot and we now hear killed in the USA. Obviously, this is really tragic, especially for his family. He leaves behind a wife and two very young daughters, I believe. So this is pretty horrible news. But we thought we would just briefly talk about it because we've been watching it on X, on Twitter, as it's unfolded. Anything to say about this one, boys?
Well, all I have to say is again, it's, as everyone's saying, it's so shocking because Charlie Kirk is one of the most mild-mannered people on the right of politics in the West, and so it's like, I mean, if they think it's acceptable to shoot him, they think it's acceptable to shoot us, and so yeah, you need to be on your guard.
Yeah, I'd say it's kind of similar to because if people read about the Spanish Civil War, one event that kicks it off was the killing of Calvo Sotelo, who essentially was just a moderate conservative. But then after his death, you basically have a youth wing of a conservative party called SEDA. The entire youth wing just turned fascist overnight, and they take all the money they've got with them and give it to the Phalangists. And that's one thing that really precipitates the Spanish Civil War. So it's like if you get the shit libs, assassination goes like Charlie Kirk of all people. Mm-hmm. It's a matter of they're going to create the fascists or whatever they want to say that they dread so much.
Yeah.
Just to say, guys, look. First of all, apparently the suspect that the police arrested is not the guy who shot him. They're now saying. And the latest news is that Charlie Kirk is actually now deceased, that he has passed away. And if you looked at the video of the shooting, which seemed to be done with a rifle, probably with a telescopic sight, if you saw where he was shot in the neck and the amount of blood he lost in a second or two, it was very unlikely he was going to survive that. So the latest news that we have via X, via Twitter, is that he is in fact dead, and the old boomer guy who the cops arrested apparently is not the shooter.
Mm-hmm. Just to add a point, so to add a point to what Mitch said about Calvo Sotelo, another comparison we can probably draw with the Spanish Civil War. It's not the best analogy, but is actually Miguel Primo de Rivera. Sorry, not him. His son. I forget his son's first name, but his son. Sorry, it's Jose. That was it. So, yes, so Jose Primo de Rivera. He was the son of the former prime minister. Though he was much more radical than Charlie Kirk. He was the founder of the Falange. He was still, again, a very young, 30-something leader of the Spanish right, and his kind of capture by the left and his sort of martyrdom and torture in the early part of the war, I think also helped galvanize the right as well. So I think that's another comparison we can draw.
Yeah, my comment on it was that all the people celebrating this, all the leftists celebrating this, like the murder of a gentle moderate like Charlie Kirk, they have no idea what's coming for them once all these moderates learn to hate.
Certainly, and what makes this even worse is obviously this is off the back of that Ukrainian girl who was murdered on the subway, and then of course the issue with the Scottish girl the other week. So it's just endless.
Yeah, to echo what Alabaster says about the fabric of America being torn. I mean, you're MSNBC, who they are. Yeah. I mean, what's his name? Van Jones.
That was the CNN one.
Yeah. I mean, how does Trump not just go total war on this one at this point? Like, because I've got a book about Andrew Jackson on my bookshelf. I haven't read it, but from what I've heard about Andrew Jackson, is he was willing to use authoritative means to shut down his opponents, and that's why so many people shit the bed about him to this day. The way that Trump will have to be authoritative about these people will far outdo what Andrew Jackson did in the 1830s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think you've got to recognise that Charlie Kirk, as people are saying, was actually a moderate. He was not an extremist in any way, shape, or form. In fact, he was too moderate for me in many respects. But if they're going to kill you when you're that moderate, I mean, this comes on top, of course, of two attempts to kill Trump prior to the election, and it looked very similar. To me, this looked like it was done with a rifle with a telescopic scope.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it seemed to me to be from. So very similar to the way they tried to kill President Trump before the election. And you've got to say that the left in America, especially, is becoming the party of murder, basically.
I mean, if you want my opinion, they've been that way a long time. I don't know if any of you have been watching, but Raging Mandrill on his channel has been doing a series reading through the book Days of Rage, which is all about the Weather Underground and the Black Panthers in the sort of 60s and 70s. And yeah, the amount of like violent terror the American left got up to during that period is ridiculous. I really recommend people listen to that series if you haven't.
Oh yeah, they were planting bombs and doing all sorts of stuff, which everyone forgets about these days, of course. But yeah, you're quite right. And I like Raging Mandrill. I believe he was an ex-US Navy guy, wasn't he?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, the other thing I've been seeing on my Twitter line was because just after the Irina Zavutska girl, that Ukrainian woman, I saw a lot of people on my Twitter feed just like going on about if you think this is bad, you ought to look at what happened with Reconstruction in America, and like that's a rabbit hole to go down, where you realize a lot of the stuff that the South gets bollocks for in terms of segregation and Jim Crow and all this. It's a matter of people finding it the hard way. Perhaps the Southerners did have a point with some of the stuff they did, and likewise, you're looking at this stuff now. It's like, yeah, it's going to come to a point where I think raw egg nationalists say something like, "Oh, this is what the left is doing because they're celebrating at Luigi Mangione," and people like me are just saying, "Well, okay, the right better start lionizing the likes of Francisco Franco and Juan Yagüe." For people who don't know about Juan Yagüe, was the guy who was called the Butcher of Badajoz because in 1936 he executed like 4,000 leftists after taking the city on his march to Madrid. So,
yeah, I mean, you'd think the left in America and possibly also to some degree in Britain should take some lessons from the Spanish Civil War, and if you start executing fairly moderate right-wing people, you're not going to like what happens. You really aren't.
I think Noam Chomsky, apparently there's an article I've seen from Adam Wren guy who was showing it, where he goes, Noam Chomsky was telling a lot of people on his side of the political aisle, don't do political violence, because if the right starts doing it, the right can be more brutal than what the left can aspire to do. And it's a game they lose. Of course, they won't listen to that. So.
Tomb of Arminius in the chat says 200 yards is easily doable with a 5.56. Yes, it is. And if you've got a scope, 300 yards is pretty easy as well. And Charlie Kirk was sitting there talking on a microphone actually about gang violence in places like Chicago in America, which of course is where most American shootings actually happen, is into gang violence. It's not white guys. And he was talking about this and he wasn't moving very much. So it wasn't a really difficult shot for someone with a scope, but very, very much like what they tried to do to Trump when they nicked him in the ear. And fortunately for Trump, he was standing up and moving around a lot, whereas poor Charlie Kirk was just sitting there and was a sitting duck. And as I say, look, at the moment, I just feel really, really sorry for his widow and his he's got 2 little toddler daughters. You know, it's a horrible, horrible thing to happen.
And what disturbs me more is I didn't realise how old Charlie Kirk was. I thought he was much older than that. He's only 6 months older than me, so it could happen to any of us if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the left is becoming the party of murder. I mean, Charlie Kirk over the last week or so has been going on about the poor little Ukrainian girl who was brutally murdered in America for no reason whatsoever. You know, and the black guy who did it said afterwards twice, "I got the white girl." Like that was some big deal that he went up behind her and stabbed her in the neck.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the lefties were all saying, "Oh, they're all making excuses for the black."
Yeah, like you mentioned the Dan Jones earlier, going, "Oh, we have no idea how much hurt this man was feeling at the time." Oh, God Almighty!
Why did that mean he could kill a defenseless woman?
Well, you also had Black Lives Matter. You also had like the official Black Lives Matter Instagram, literally posted on the day, "Oh well, political violence by oppressed minorities is justified." Blah blah blah, and it's like
I just hope that Trump makes Black Lives Matter a terrorist organization. He should, but then maybe he should do that to the Democratic Party. You know?
Yeah, not just that, but also MSNBC needs to be taken down.
Yep, absolutely, because they have been encouraging this. I saw immediately after the shooting there was some dozy libtard blonde chick on MSNBC in the USA who tried to say it might have been one of Charlie Kirk's supporters firing his gun in joy.
I've just
I mean, how dumb do they
off?
Yes, how dumb do they think people are? You know, it's just disgusting, and it just tells you the left want you all dead. And like many of us on the right have been saying this for years, but it is a true fact. The left want you dead. They want your family dead and destroyed. They are just evil. They're just evil. Good evening, AI. How are you going, man?
I'm good, thanks. And I heard from you, Iron Duke, a few moments, about half an hour ago, I think. What happened? Yeah.
And we're saying, AI, the thing is that Charlie Kirk is was a very moderate guy. He wasn't an extremist in any way, shape, or form. So if they're going to murder people like him, what chance does anyone who actually is on the right? What chance do they stand?
It's funny because I never really watched. I used to see clips of Charlie Kirk going around. I never watched anything of his in detail. I mean, I knew that he was a massive Zionist. He was
Turning Point USA
MAGA.
is his organization.
Yeah. He was big in MAGA. He used to appear with like Dave Rubin, I think Ben Shapiro, and he had recently an interview with Tucker Carlson. Excuse me, sorry. And he had an interview with Tucker Carlson, and his style of like interview, going to college campuses and stuff, in my mind was very like 2015, 2016. It was somewhat outdated, but he kept it up. I think now the era, I mean, I put a tweet out just a few moments ago saying the debate is over now, and I've been very critical of that sort of format, that debate is pointless. I think I honestly do think the debate is over now. That sort of style thing. I mean, I remember back in the day when Milo Yiannopoulos
I do.
Ste-
I wouldn't trust him
yes.
as far as I could throw him, but yes.
Yeah. Stephen Crowder, and even someone like Sargon. I mean, I think what it does focus is, we know some of these people. Some of us may even attend like these sorts of like events in this country. Now, I mean, it's very unlikely that something like that would happen here anyway. But at the same time, you never know, because the regimes, and we see in this country with the use of Antifa and Black Bloc, is that they do encourage political violence.
I mean,
They encourage murder against us if they could.
we had David Amos,
We did. Yep.
Yeah.
We had David. I mean, and it feels like, and I hate to say it, but it feels like that the regime, both in this country and the United States, and when I say United States, I'm not talking about like Trump and his, I'm talking about the deep state American stuff. They want an Anders Breivik. They want a right wing Anders Breivik incident.
Yeah.
They are pushing for that. They're pushing for it in this country. I mean, with all the migrant hotel stuff, I'm looking at it and I'm just thinking, I mean, yeah, there's maliciousness, but they want some sort of thing to happen which gives them the reason to come crashing down on the masses.
I just think that, I mean, if you were to take that argument, okay, that's just massively risky, because it's not 2015 anymore, where people will be like, oh, I don't want to be far right. Whereas nowadays, it's like, well, people are just that sick and tired that,
I mean, you're right, Mitch. And let's look at the American political scene at the moment. Whether you like him or not, I mean, because Charlie Kirk, Charlie Kirk, for like the mainstream young Republican types, the younger Republican types, and then you had Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes had a huge following, particularly what was it, the Groyper movement, the sort of paleocon, right wing and white nationalist, America First, right?
Yep.
He's still there. I mean, and the thing is, I mean, my view on with I know that they Fuentes nearly had a similar treatment at his house about a year ago now, where someone tried to go around there to kill him, and the guy who went down to kill him killed two other people. Two, like I think it was like his girlfriend and his ex-girlfriend and their mother. So he had just killed somebody and went round to Nick Fuentes' house to shoot him, and the police, luckily, they turned up and shot him dead.
Like despite their disagreements, Nick Fuentes' statement was that this feels like a nightmare, one of the most horrific things I've ever seen. I feel absolutely gutted and devastated. Pray for Charlie Kirk's soul, his young family, and for our country. The violence and hatred has to stop. Our country needs Christ now more than ever. You see, like, like he's the one who's coming out of this well, not the left. So for any of like Charlie's moderate followers, like you're saying, like Nick's still around.
Yeah,
people are saying in the chat that why was there no security? From what I'm told, Charlie Kirk did actually have his own private security team. But if someone is going to shoot you from 300 or 400 yards away with a rifle and a sniper scope on it, how do you protect against that?
Yeah, no security.
You might be able to do it for the president, although
even then
failed with Trump.
Yeah.
Trump was very, very lucky not to have the same fight.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I know people. I think people have brought up the examples of the late '60s, late hippie, and then you had like left-wing violence of like the Weatherman Underground group and organizations like that. Back then, if you think about it, you had George Lincoln Rockwell, who was a very well-known white nationalist, anti-civil rights campaigner, and he was assassinated. You had Malcolm X, who was a black nationalist, very anti-liberal, very skeptical of the civil rights movement's official stuff. The radicals on both sides were killed. What's happened today is Charlie Kirk, who was just, he was just a normal guy.
Yeah.
He was a normal conservative. I mean, you know, this is a. I mean, for America, this is a. For the American regime, this is a disaster. I'm not talking about the MAGA Republican stuff. This is a disaster.
Mhm.
This is a disaster because, you know, one. I don't, and when I say containment, I'm not meaning this to dishonor his memory or anything like that. But somebody who is, you know, not a dissident in the way that we would understand it, has is no real threat to anybody.
No.
It is no real threat. If Fuentes was shot like this, I would be able. I would say, okay, I can understand why this has happened.
Yeah.
Or if you know, I'm just trying to that guy in that has like that the Patriot Front. I forgot his name now. If that guy was shot and killed,
Oh, Thomas Rousseau.
Thomas Russo, thank you. I could understand that, but this to me, it's kind of strange to really think about this because usually we in our societies is always the political extreme that die. I mean, take even like someone in our circles that we venerate, someone like Bowden. Now, I'm not going to draw on any conspiracy theories about his death. I think he died. I know some people think there's something else happened there, but you know, people on the political extreme on the right in the West in our countries, they tend to die, and sometimes it's under suspicious circumstances. I mean, we can always guess why. We always know why. But this was a public incident. This was a public assassination. There was cameras that caught it in its most goriest of details. That image is going to be what his supporters remember. And I remember a speech that Evola gave where he said that the blood of the warrior or the blood of the martyr is the most strongest link towards God.
I would just say a couple of things. First of all, this was in a red Republican state, I believe. So
I mean, basically all the cities are blue, though, across the whole country.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Lofa Sheffield in the chat is talking about MLK and Kennedy. And MLK most certainly was not saintly, and nor was Kennedy really.
I would say with Kennedy.
Look at his look at his and his brother's affair at the same time with Marilyn Monroe. You know, I'm not sure that I would actually have an affair with the same girl my brother was screwing, but you know, whatever.
The thing about Kennedy was he was very. I mean, he was a chip, but he was a chip off the old block where his father was concerned. I mean, and one thing that Kennedy did was he was the main guy who cajoled the Germans into accepting loads of Turks. So you think of all the third world immigration that Germany had to deal with. It all started with JFK literally pressuring Germany into taking loads of Turks because he wanted to get the Turks into NATO.
And Martin Luther King was most certainly not saintly. Like his speeches were ghostwritten. He liked screwing white girls. He was not who they pretend he was. But anyway, leave all that aside.
I think the point was just about political assassinations with them.
Oh yeah. But the point I think that is important here, and the one that AI was making, and also Bede earlier, and Mitch, and yourself, Farium, is that Charlie Kirk was a moderate. He was very moderate dude. He was not in any way, shape, or form extreme right wing, not even slightly.
I mean, just to draw a comparison, it would be like, and just for the sake of YouTube and people watching, this is just a comparison, and I'm not advocating any violence or anything like that. This is just a comparison. If say it happened in this country when they say they took out Connor Tomlinson or someone like that.
Yeah. It would be exactly like that, yes, because Connor, again, is a non-controversial, very middle-of-the-road kind of right-wing person. He's not anywhere near as right-wing as I am, or probably anyone on this stream.
Well, I would contest that Connor is controversial, considering a certain post he put out on X yesterday. So,
what was that?
he did a trip to Israel essentially. So
Oh
yeah.
God.
Did he touch the wall?
The usual journey.
He didn't. He didn't touch the wall, but it was his long essay where he was kind of saying, "Oh, we need to basically get the Western right to be pro-Israel because we need like their model of nationalism, and like I want Zionism for England." It was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
I
basically.
thought Zionism
Yeah.
was only for Jewish people, but okay.
Connaughton was basically groveling towards him. Like, he was going, "Oh, I empathise with Israel and regarding Gaza." And that's his first thing he said.
I mean,
Look,
Iron Duke.
Yep.
Sorry, when he did his word salad of saying why he didn't kiss the wall, I was doing a retweet, but then I didn't do it in the end. But I did put a retweet saying, typing out saying that, listen, mate, all you have to say is Romans destroyed the temple. The temple is now Christ. Christ is the way to God. Everything else is fake and satanic. But I thought I better not put that because that might be
probably a good idea.
yeah.
Look, someone's asking about Tom Rousel. I mean, I like Tom Rousel. That survived the jive for anyone who doesn't know, isn't it? I presume that's who he means.
What about him?
Yeah,
I think he's saying. I think he's saying like people are saying like Darren Grimes and Tom Rousel. Like, Tom Rousel, he is not extreme. I don't even know really much of his political beliefs because he's more into history, culture, and archaeological works.
He's on our side. He's definitely a right-wing supporter of Anglo-Saxon history and all that sort of thing. For sure.
Tom Rosel's basically remigration now. He's based off at Steve Raw's tendency pretty much at this point. So
and I know Mitch follows him because Mitch is very into Anglo-Saxon history and all that stuff. And I follow Tom as well. I like him a lot. I think he's got many very sensible ideas. I mean, look, just to let people know, I was posting about this long before this tragic murder happened. The reason I don't fully support Tommy Robinson is because if you go to a Tommy Robinson rally, you will see the Star of David flying over the Union flag. And I'm sorry, no foreign flag flies over the flag of my people, which is the Union flag, or the England flag, or the Welsh or Scottish or Northern Irish flags. I'm not interested in Israel. I don't hate them, but they're not my problem. If they want to kill Palestinians and Palestinians want to kill them, let them get on with it. It shouldn't be anything to do with Britain. We left that vile part of the world in 1948 after Israeli terrorists were murdering British soldiers who they'd captured.
Yep, they made it quite clear they're not interested in having anything to do with us. So leave them to it.
Exactly. Not our business, Theron. I don't give a shit what they do. You know that? And I would not be sending the RAF from Cyprus to defend them if it was down to me.
I do now, again, not to dishonor the memory here, but he was, in his own words, very pro-Israel, had a good friendly connection with Benjamin Netanyahu. Do you think Mossad, depending on who did this, do you think Mossad will enact revenge?
I mean,
I don't think anyone will enact revenge myself. Yeah. I mean, I would half wonder, did the CIA have anything to do with killing him? That's what I think, but
I mean, I can't think, Mossad doesn't strike me as the type who care about, let's say he was one of their agents, just say that. Mossad don't seem like the type who'd care.
No.
They're quite happy to sacrifice any number of us. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And like I say, I think it's perfectly possible that there were elements within the Central Intelligence Agency who could have had something to do with killing Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
I mean, and might have even had something to do with trying to kill President Trump. Who knows?
I personally think, I honestly think it's the left who are behind this because I don't see any benefit to Mossad or the CIA killing Charlie
No.
Kirk.
Well,
No.
given that he was such a moderate, yes,
Yeah.
I agree with you, Bede. Charlie Kirk was a very moderate voice. He
Mhm.
really was. He was sane and moderate and kind of like, I don't know, Nigel Farage, really.
Hmm.
Very,
This sort of-
very
I mean,
similar
also,
to Nigel Farage.
I mean, it does also beg the other question that, someone brought up in the chat, Joe Cox. Now, if you remember, her murder occurred at the same time, a critical point with the EU referendum.
Mm.
And it's the way that the media span it and the Labour Party span it and everyone sort of spun it round was that this was, this was because of political division has gone too far. We need to come together and vote to remain. So it was used as a cynical
Yeah, it was a
ploy. Now,
con job.
It was a con job. Now,
Yeah.
I listen. I believe in the. I don't believe. I believe it was. I believe it was. I don't believe the official narrative on that. Let's just say it like that. And I don't think. It's so. I watched an interview with a private journalist who, let's just say, there's several bits in the story that doesn't add up at all. But be that as it may, if this was an inside job that did Charlie Kirk in, it will the whole thing is it's about garnering support for Israel in America among particularly the young political masses, and this might be a ploy. I do not know.
Hmm. I mean,
My point with this is that if someone like Charlie Kirk, who was a perfectly reasonable, to me, he was centre right. He wasn't really right wing.
Yeah.
I'm actually right wing. Charlie
Yeah.
Kirk was centre right, bit like Nigel Farage. If you can kill people like that, you can kill anyone, basically.
Yeah, you
Is
can
this-
imagine Farage after this, he's going to have more, even more security than he normally does.
because this is the one of the problems. Like for all of us, we can see where Charlie actually was politically, but for all these people who've all these leftists who've just listened to all this mainstream media crap and stuff, they view even someone like Charlie as some absolute far right extremist Hitler lover because they're so cooked by just that narrative.
100, yeah, absolutely, 100%.
And you've got to this is a question that America really needs to deal with about their media constantly trying to drum up all this hatred that they've been doing for years and years.
I'd like to see Trump actually do something about the American lefty liberal mainstream media. He needs to.
Yeah, it's like guys like Hassan and Evan Loves Worf and Destiny. Very high up on my list. If I was let's say a right winger embedded in, let's say, the FBI or whatever, they'd be high up on my shit list.
Well, I mean, Destiny would be dead easy at the moment because Destiny at the moment he's actually he's admitted that he's got pedo
CP.
Yeah, from an underage girl.
Yeah,
who he had sex with and invited across state lines to go and have sex with him. So Destiny would be a very easy target.
But those are just like independent people. It's like the mainstream media is just as guilty as them, and they've got huge funding. So you need to do something about them, really.
I do think it's quite symbolic in a way because a lot of us, I'm 30. I think a lot of us are in our late 20s, 30s, and stuff. I know you're a bit older than us, quite a bit older.
Yeah, I'm only like 60. So there you go.
I'm assuming I'm the youngest at 24. I'm assuming I'm the youngest.
Yeah, youngest. But a lot of us, probably me and B's age, when our sort of political awakening, or my political awakening, obviously a lot of it was to do with Sargon. Maybe Mitch, the same was with you and people like that. And a lot of it was those sorts of debates. I mean, Sargon used to go to universities in England doing these sorts of similar debates. This sort of debate at the colleges, universities in America, in Britain, in Europe was very common. And a lot of the people we watched did it. and it's quite symbolic that, you know, as part of that sort of political awakening or that sort of thing, which a lot of us watched, you know, 10 years ago, maybe more than 10 years ago now, and now this has happened. I mean, number one, I don't think any more conservatives or Republicans will do college campus debates out in the open like this anymore. I think that is over now.
That's going to stop.
That's going to stop. It's going to stop now. And you know, it for me, it's quite symbolic of that something that, and I imagine a lot of our American friends, like the Old Glory Club and maybe even Aubrey, I don't know, but people who were sort of brought into this sort of sphere of politics, with that sort of style of debate is now, you know, and what's happened. I guess it is like you know, a new chapter, that sort of chapter of
they want you dead.
Political activity.
AI. They want you and your family dead.
Yeah.
And they will actually kill you. That's what this proves.
And the thing is, you know, we've been saying that for what, years now.
Yes.
And I think the fact that this has happened to such a ordinary bloke in such a the fact that it was recorded in such a graphic and horrific way, I think now, you know, this will be internalized. And you know what? You know, I know tomorrow we've me and Bede, we are going to be streaming the second part of the Romanian Revolution. And I know I joke about in there and everything, but I do want this to remind you. When I said last Monday, the reason why elements of the army were this brutal to the left-wing, you know, regime people in Romania, the Securitate and Ceausescu's lackeys, why they were so brutal in killing them and stuff, it's because of shit like this that you saw today. Because if you don't, this is what happens. And this is why they behaved. This is why you do it in this way. And this is, you know, when people, it's kind of like a crazy, a rabid dog. You have to put it down.
Yeah.
Once it's gone, once it's tasted blood, it's tasted blood, it's tasted flesh, it's too dangerous. It has to be put down.
I'll tell you guys that I was moderating. I'm only a moderator on about 2 channels. One is Apostolic Majesty, and the other one is Dave the Distributist. And I was moderating on Dave the Distributist channel yesterday for me, but earlier today for you guys. And Dave's just moved house, and his wife's really excited because she's got a new house to decorate and all the rest of it. And you know, he was just talking about stuff. But Dave is a very sensible guy who I followed for many years now, probably like, I don't know, 6, 7 years, something like that. And Dave has long said that the left wants you dead and your family destroyed, and he's entirely correct. They do. And this murder today by presumably some lefty, I can't think anyone else would have done it, it just proves it. They want you dead. They want your family destroyed. They'll rape your wife and kill your children. They just will.
Yeah, I've had to turn off my bloody TikTok because TikTok's just full of all these shitlibs just celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
I have apparently Blue Sky as well. And you got
and Reddit is full of people saying, "Oh yeah, good, they've killed him." These people are celebrating, like particularly trannies and various gangbangers and Black Lives Matter, but just loads of Democrats basically.
Yeah, and the thing about Blue Sky is, I believe they do archive like your name. So if the FBI, for example, want to go searching, they'll find it very easy to come up with the names of people posting that kind of stuff.
You hope so.
Don the Pleb, he's collating all of the people celebrating. I see one he's just posted is some Democrat governor blaming Trump and the January 6th rioters for shooting Charlie Kirk.
Yep. Yeah, Don the Pleb's a good guy, by the way. Anyone doesn't know him, he was a senior NCO in the U.S. Marine Corps, and he's a combat vet, and a really good guy. Nice bloke. He's a friend of mine. But yeah, guys, the left want you dead. They do.
Yeah,
You've
like-
got to start realizing this.
Yeah, like I was saying, those like early Sargon debates and stuff, I could have never imagined like him actually getting shot at one of them back then. It's just, but now it is just, yeah, you can't deny the left are just, they want us all dead.
I mean, it
Um,
was
like-
ice cream. It was ice creams
Yeah.
and milkshakes.
Yeah, that was that's the worst. Like they're troublemakers. That's the worst I'd expect from them, not just murder. It's
I've got to mention one thing, all right? And listen, do you know what? I like some of Academic Agent's content. I followed him for a long time.
Mhm.
I liked him. I liked a lot of his guests. But he's recently put up a post saying there is some sort of plan to get rid of the British government and put reform in charge. And listen, anyone who follows me knows I'm no great fan of Nigel Farage and reform. But you know what? The people who want to get rid of two-tier Keir Starmer and the Labour government are the British people. It's not really very secret.
Exactly.
Most British people want that horrible, vile, anti-Anglo-Celtic government gone. And I'm sorry, you're just wrong about that. It's
The
not
one-
secret.
You know, his most recent video is again all about like defending Blair. Oh, like Blair's
Yeah.
actually not the worst thing, and it's just just fuck off, AA.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Were there people bad before Blair? Yeah, going back to 1945. But he was entirely evil.
And AA knows what he's doing with that. He knows, like, just because other people are bad, Boris Johnson's bad, doesn't make Blair good. You know, we can hate them both.
Two
We
wrongs
have to
don't
pick
make a
side.
right, guys.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the thing about AA is that I know this Duncan Patroon also
Yeah.
doing this. Where, like,
Yeah.
it's always whenever we're winning, we're actually losing.
Yeah.
Like, so whenever, for example, all the flags, and I go, okay,
Everyone hates those flags. They're all Jewish. Even though they're Union flags and English flags and Scottish flags and what have you. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, my council, but this is a reform council because I live in Staffordshire. They tried to take some of them down, and then more people just thought, okay, screw you, we're putting more up. And after like a few days, the council just gave up, and they were just flying pretty flat. Like, for example, you know, I go into my local town centre, and pretty much every lamppost and whatnot just has either an England flag, Union flag, or have like a little England sticker at like the bus stops and so on.
Is that good for morale, Mitch? Because for me, it is. It makes me happy to see it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll so I got an England flag. I'll put I'll put in my garden. That's perfectly visible for everyone driving in. Now, neighbour, like 2 or 3 doors down, had a delivery. Where was this brown guy being a delivery driver, and apparently like, he was. All I could hear was him shouting in his native language. All I could. I thought,
go home.
Yeah,
easy. Go
You
home.
thought mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't care what all these. I may have written all sorts of books. I'm sure he has. I know he has. But do you know what? Those flags are really good for average, ordinary English and British people to see, and it improves their morale. And I'm all in favor of that.
Yep.
It proves they're not on their own when they see those things. You know, when they think that maybe England and Britain should be for the English and British, perhaps they're not the only people who think that.
And conversely, all the shitlibs who hate it are realizing, I'm feeling a bit outnumbered now.
Yeah, why did the shitlibs take them down, Barry?
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
why are they so assiduous in trying to take them down? Because they know it's destroying their narrative.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's-
I would go one step further that the English flag, and the reason why the English flag has been, and the concept of England, and why you have like the endless debate of what is an English person, does England even exist, all these sorts of stupid stuff that occupies modern times today. The English flag is the St George's flag is a deep rooted ethnic and racial expression of the English people, and that's why they hate it. That's why they hate the English flag. They're okay with the Welsh, the Scottish, and the Irish flag because the Celtic people, for the regime, are an appropriate ally to beat the English with because of like some sort of silly, made-up colonial crap that they like to spin every now and then. That's why the Scottish Saltire, because it represents left wing fake nationalism, Celtic nationalism, fake nationalism, which is all bound up in some sort of victimhood, status that they like the Irish nationalists and the Scottish nationalists like to perform, performative stuff. That's why I mean that's why they're so in love with Palestine. They don't. If Palestine, I mean, if Israel wasn't bombing the shit out of the Palestinians, they wouldn't care. Most of them wouldn't give a damn what's going on in Palestine.
Mm.
They
I
didn't. A lot of them
don't
did.
care about Palestine or Israel. Fuck both of them, basically.
I mean,
But anyway.
but they didn't care before. Most of them didn't care before. They didn't give it. I mean, the only one
Yeah.
that probably cared before, genuinely, was probably George Galloway. He's the
Yeah.
only person on that sort of remit that did care before. But most of them, no, didn't give a damn. Never heard the SNP or anyone like that in previous years, or any Scottish nationalist commentator, or that fat actor, that fat old dickhead that was in Sharp, the Scottish actor, Brian Cox. He
Yeah.
didn't give a damn before. No, he never spoke about it before. Only when it became convenient for him, for his little cause. So, yeah, I mean that's my take on it. That's why they hate the English flag. I mean, listen, I like seeing the. I mean, one thing I've had is not just the English flag around me; it's actually the county flag. I love seeing the county
Good.
flag. I love seeing.
Hundred.
And around the West Country, I've seen the Cornish flag. I've seen the Devon flag. I've seen those crosses, and it's great to see. It is great to see.
Yeah.
And yeah, if operation if the person running this operation was saying, actually, we're going to like corrupt the flag, the St. George's flag or our county flags with like the Israeli logo on it or
Yeah.
some shit like that,
Yeah.
I would be the first one to condemn that guy and
So
call
would
him
I.
a piece of shit, scumbag.
Totally agree there. Totally
So
agree.
I mean, that's my view on it. If anyone tries to corrupt, the flag or my county flag, they will know about it. I swear to God, I will even go around and set fire to that corrupted flag.
It's like AI. I've seen Scottish people putting up the Scottish Saltire, of course, but they also put up the Scottish Rampant Lion, and some of them also put up the Union flag. And, great. I got no problem with any of those flags. They're all good British flags.
I would say like the thing. I don't know what AI was I'm thinking of because you look up, let's say, the 1830 revolution in France, which toppled Charles X, I think it was. One thing that was a big signal that something was going to kick off was all these French liberals flying around with tricolours, which were banned at the time.
Yep.
So it's like you have. Yeah, you saw Steve Bannon, for example, GB News. I think was it yesterday or the day before? Put him in Discord. He himself says he reckons the next general election is the last chance saloon for a peaceful solution to all the problems we've got. Otherwise, things will kick off.
Speaking of peaceful solutions,
can I just say, William Turner in the chat? Yes, I believe he has died.
Yeah,
sadly.
it's confirmed. Yeah.
Right. So just to get back to the subject of Charlie Kirk, I shouldn't be surprised, but the Democrats are so low. So the US Congress have addressed Charlie's murder and have called for like a solemn minute silence and prayer, and the Democrats are booing no.
Oh, fuck off. Jesus Christ. Like,
That will really help them with like patriotic Americans, I guess. Not.
yeah. Is a guy's died. Like, just, God, you can't put it aside for 1 minute.
like I
1
said,
minute, you can't give it.
I had disagreements with Charlie Kirk. Charlie
Yeah.
Kirk was much more moderate than I am.
Yeah.
But you know what? He's a young dad with 2 little toddler kids and a widow. So get fucked, you asshole Democrats.
Well, the Democrats lost any class when they passed the civil rights and they kicked all the good Southern Democrats out of the party, forced them out into the fringes. They were the only true gentlemanly good Democrats of the Democrat Party. I mean, after that, it was just vengeful blacks, spiteful middle class hippies in urban
Mhm.
centres. Just a vile collection of people. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought the left on the eve of the Spanish Civil War, I mean, they were murderous, violent animals.
Yeah.
The Democrats are quite close to that. I mean, they are that now. I think they've actually become that. And quite frankly, if Trump tomorrow was to say, know what, fuck it, screw the Constitution, screw democracy and the Republic, it's an American empire, and our political opponents want to destroy us. They got to go. I'd be like, yeah, good, go for it. I mean,
Me
at this
too.
point, yeah. I'd just say go for it. To be honest,
me too. AI. If Trump said, "Yeah, I'm banning this MSM channel," or certain bits of the Democratic Party, I'd say, "Yeah, go for it, mate."
And
Kill
he'd be
'em.
able to put together hours and hours of them calling for violence to justify it. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. He could do a literal 24-hour stream of lefty people in America calling for violence against the right. He really could. 24 hours, non-stop, never repeating itself.
Yeah.
I don't know what you make of what Huskar has to say. Where he says he thinks Civil War won't happen because obesity and testosterone rates are. And I go, I hate that kind of argument because it's so reductionist. Yeah. But I just think
it's like a civil war in Britain, Mitch. If you're going to talk about an out-and-out civil war, like say the English Civil War in the 1600s, that's not going to happen. But you know what could happen very, very easily in Britain at the moment under 2-tier Keir Starmer and Labour? A Northern Ireland trouble situation that could happen very, very easily. Really easily, much more easily than I suspect many of our left-wing so-called elites realize.
Also, like to Huskarl's point, will this event really do anything? I mean, that's still up in the air. We don't know that yet. But every one of these events, I feel it just adds up. And eventually things do snap. You get sort of nothing ever happens until everything all happens at once.
Yeah, and then it all happens at once really, really quickly. That's history, if you ask me, Theron.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happens until it does, and then it happens real quick.
Yeah. Well, and the English IRA, the countryside in England still has quite a lot of guns, Huskar.
Yeah, exactly, Haskell. You're not right about this. There are many more guns in England than the government knows about. Let's put it that way.
Besides, look at Nepal at the moment. Look at what's happening there with no guns.
Oh yeah,
this
was great. These Nepalese guys, which is where the Gurkhas come from, by the way. They were chasing down these lefty government ministers and stripping them and just carrying them off and hopefully doing away with them, in Minecraft, of course, YouTube. But
like we don't know yet, but this is all stacking up.
It's becoming more and more, and like if you think people like Sir Keir Starmer and David Lammy, who's one of the thickest men ever to be in the British government, if you think they really have any understanding of controlling things,
Yeah.
I tell you, I've got a really huge bridge to sell you somewhere.
Yeah, the police are complaining about how they can't meet their recruitment targets. Because why would you want to join that? So
yeah, let's join the police and beat
Yeah.
up English people. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Alongside Pakistanis and West Indians and feminists and gay people, and yeah, let's go and join the cops because that'll help society, won't it?
Mm.
But let's also have the what's that fucking stupid nonsense they have in let's have the Notting Hill Carnival every year, where I don't know 200 women are sexually assaulted every single year, but we'll keep doing it because
Don't forget the
black
mass
people
stabbings
must
as
be
well.
allowed to chimp out,
Mm.
Stabbings as well,
I
Duke.
actually watched a video of one black guy who was hanging off a lamppost, literally doing a chimpanzee story.
Yeah. Yes.
It was just amusing to me.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not beating the stereotypes there, are you? Yeah.
Well, I didn't even film it. I just saw someone else put it up. It was like, and the cops just let him do it, of course,
Yeah.
because if you're a black guy, you can do anything you like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do listen. I just want to prayers for Charlie Kirk, and particularly for his widow and his two little toddler daughters. And like I said, politically, Charlie Kirk was way to the left of me. But you know what? If they'll murder him, they'll murder anyone.
Yeah. I mean, the moderates.
I don't think we know anything about the killer yet.
No, I think he's still. Yeah, I think he's still at large.
They arrested this old boomer guy, but apparently that wasn't him.
No.
That is what the university where Kirk was speaking said. I don't know. Depends it depends which agency he worked for, I guess.
There is a name that's been bandied about, and I mean, I don't think he's involved with it, but you never know. He's a young blonde fellow called Dean Withers. Apparently, he's been having some weird psychotic moments on stream and stuff, and he's been trying to talk to Charlie for some time. So the chances are he's not the shooter, but apparently I've seen people been clipping and sharing, like saying, "See you at Utah."
Dean Withers. Dean Withers is probably that guy where if you were to meet him in real life, you'd find it hard not to do redacted things upon him. Like, he's very annoying guy.
You may remember. Sorry.
I was going to say, you were sharing a post, I think, from some guy saying that Charlie Kirk was coming to his college tomorrow, and something big will happen. From some guy with a Mexican flag in his name.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Andrew, could you bring up the comment from Charlemagne in the chat?
Yeah, I'll try to. Where is it? Pete?
Well, if you go up a bit, it's about a paragraph long.
Oh, okay. Oh, here we go. This one?
Yeah. So just to address what Charlie's saying, I mean, I get where you're coming from, Charlemagne. There are definitely some people who do, and those people are idiots. But I think everybody on this panel knows taking the situation very, very seriously, and a Rubicon has been crossed with what's happened.
Yeah.
I think what makes it horrific. So I think what makes it, I think where Charlemagne is right on this. What makes it incredibly horrific is just that footage is there for everyone to see. It is brutal. It is probably one of the most brutal public murders in public. Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the most brutal. The only one that I can think to as being that graphic is that American politician who shot himself back in the 80s on live television.
Which is, shooting yourself is entirely different.
It's entirely different, but you get my point.
I would just say to Charlemagne, I spend a fair amount of time not getting into arguments with Americans with a British versus American thing. Like, I know all my guests will confirm I spend quite a lot of time not trying to do that. My view is that Charlie Kirk was a young dad. He had 2 little toddler girls and he's got a widow. And I hope people will help them. Although, how are they ever going to replace their dad? They're not. And Charlie Kirk was moderate, He was not any sort of right-wing extremist. I'm pretty sure that Charlemagne and I are both more right-wing than Charlie Kirk was. And yet he was viciously murdered at a long distance with a rifle and a sniper scope. That's the truth.
Of course, we know when they do catch the shooter, there are going to be people trying to put together GoFundMes for him.
Well, maybe, but maybe Trump and other
Hopefully.
Americans can help stop that. That would be kind of good.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember there was a case quite recently of there was an athletics meet somewhere in America, and some black dude was wandering around this other school's
stabbed a kid
place and just stabbed some American white football player. Just said, "Why don't you piss off, mate? Because this isn't where you belong." And the guy stabbed him in the heart, and all the black guys defended him, and it's still going to go on.
Austin Metcalf.
He got hundreds of thousands given to him, I think.
Yeah, but
his family actually moved into a brand new house and bought a brand new car from all the idiot black people who sent them money.
But
even though their son was just a murderer.
Yeah,
and who had been going through the bags of other poor kids, basically.
And there were the comments going, "Oh, yeah, you got one," sort of, that type of stuff.
Yep,
of course.
Yep. Well, I mean, the black guy who killed that little blonde Ukrainian girl, got cowardly from behind. She never even saw him, and when he stabbed her, she didn't even realize she was dead at first.
Yeah.
And he said, "I got the white girl. I got the white girl."
And then no one. She's surrounded by people. No one lifts a finger to help her.
Most of them
all of them.
I would say about Austin Metcalf, guys. If it was a matter of the young white fella, he was basically saying, "Oh, you got your bag on my seat. Could you please move it?" Just for saying something like that, gets stabbed in the heart, and he's like, it's just. I'm seeing a lot of people who are like the Southerners over in America. They're just saying like, "Oh yeah, we're the most vindicated people on the planet regarding the blacks." And I'm not too well read on that part of American history, but I'm willing to perhaps think they're correct on that one.
You need to have rules, Mitch. I used to live in the old white South Africa, and if you have strict rules, you can do it. It's all right. Some of them are even all right, but you gotta have strict rules.
One of the things I've noticed is I get a lot less pushback these days for saying that apartheid was better for everyone in South Africa. People are more people are going,
I'm seeing a lot less I knew Zulu people who said that, mate. Honestly, because they hated the ANC.
I haven't seen. I used to see probably about maybe like 5 years ago, quite a few people on the right defending Nelson Mandela
Yeah.
or his
Yeah.
tactics. Haven't seen that at all. Every time I see Nelson Mandela brought up, he's always referred to as a terrorist, which of course he was.
Yeah.
He was
Nelson
he
Mandela
was a terrorist.
Nelson Mandela admitted that he helped plant bombs that killed loads of women and children, most of them black, by the way. But, whatever. That's Nelson Mandela. Great bloke. Really was.
Yeah, his
Murdered
wife
women
also
and
enjoyed
kids.
torturing people as well.
Yeah, absolutely true. Absolutely. Bengal, no one on this channel supports the Tory boys. Trust me. We don't. We some of us used to know some of them.
Yeah.
But we all left.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, guys. I mean, there's no entropy on this stream because I'm not going to get people to give me money about some poor bugger being killed. But you know what? If you want to help somebody, help out help out Charlie Kirk's widow and his 2 little daughters. I mean, you can't replace them. You never can. But hopefully Trump will also do something about that. Woodpit says Winnie the Necklacer. Winnie had a 13-year-old Zulu boy murdered called Stompy McKetsy. You can go look him up if you want to. And Winnie had him murdered. She was like a lovely woman.
Why did she murder a child? Well, why was he spying on her or something?
Because he was pointing out that she was running protection rackets in a township.
Oh, that was very rude
That's
of him.
how she was making money.
Yeah.
And Winnie had this bodyguard unit, which was called the Winnie Mandela Football Club, while Nelson was still in jail. And Winnie was even worse than Nelson, and Nelson was a scumbag, by the way. But whatever. But she had a 13-year-old black kid murdered because he pointed out she was running protection rackets in a particular township. And of course, she didn't live in a township. She lived in like a 5-bedroom house with a lift in the middle of it because so many people gave her money. But, the ANC and everything that's happened in South Africa is just like totally evil in the same way as everything that's happened in Rhodesia was totally evil. So, I don't know, maybe some poor bugger like Charlie Kirk getting killed might even wake up a few more middle-of-the-road white people to how much you're hated and how much they want to kill you, destroy your family, rape your wife, and kill your little babies. They just do.
We live in a sick world where someone like Charlie Kirk is considered a fascist extremist, and yet Nelson Mandela is treated as a liberating hero.
Yeah. And Charlie Kirk's a way nicer guy than Nelson Mandela would ever have been.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyway, guys, any last thoughts? Because I didn't want to do a long stream. We were supposed to do a history stream this evening, people, on Edward the Black Prince, and we will indeed do it, but we'll do it on Friday rather than today. I just thought wouldn't really be appropriate with poor Charlie Kirk being murdered in public today. Any final thoughts, gents?
Buckle up. Things are going to be bumpy.
I think this is going to happen more often. I really do. I think we have to be prepared for this.
Yeah. Because the thing is, as we think he should, if Trump does start cracking down on things, it's only going to radicalize. It's going to radicalize the freaks even more. So, it's just what we've got to, like, a challenge we've got to go through. But we have to do that, or we all die.
Yeah, I agree.
I hate to say it, and this is, I don't want to. I think there'll be some revenge attack in America against somebody else.
Yeah.
I it's not me wanting it or endorsing it, but I look. The trouble is, this is. My only word of wisdom is, if you are like left wing progressive and you run this sort of grift, doing like, the opposite of what Charlie Kirk does, and you decide to like applaud and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I would just say, you don't mark yourself out as a potential,
like a sandpiper.
Yeah. Because let's be honest, because a lot of these sorts of political grift things, they have like these mega fans. There is like this really like fan culture. People are, they sit in their bedrooms, they sit in their lounges at home or on the way to work or whatever, and they're or the way to school, and they're invested in a lot of these these sort of political subcultures, and people will do stuff to they will do things, and
guys,
yeah.
all I would say is this, right? If you think political violence is the way to carry on, and you're on the left, you do that and see what happens to you. It ain't gonna go well for you, boys. It really ain't gonna go well for you. And like I said, Charlie Kirk, total moderate.
Yeah.
Like, I think Charlie Kirk was a left winger. To me, he was.
Yeah.
And you murdered him in public. Well, you see how that goes, boys.
Yeah, I'd say, as I said earlier, mate, I think Trump, he'll have to do stuff that seems even harsher than what Andrew Jackson gets bollocks for to this day.
Sure, I hope so, man. I sure hope so.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry. There's actually something I forgot to mention earlier. On Twitter, King Pilled made an interesting observation. A take of his is that he believed the reason Charlie Kirk's been assassinated is because Vance was going to pick him to be his VP at the next election. Which now that is an interesting thought in there, isn't it?
Yep, it is.
I don't think that was why. I think it was just hatred. He's a fascist.
They want you dead, boys. They want you dead. They want your wife and daughters raped, and they want your family destroyed. You have to start realizing the left really, really, really hate you, and you don't hate them enough.
If you go into Lefty World and watch, if you like disassociate from our circles and go into Lefty World and you watch like the big, like recently, for example, you have like the Luigi Mangione and the glorification of that fella, but also you have like, I remember a lot of people. You had that Star Wars series Andor, which was seen as like a political rallying cry against Trump, and in that, now I know it's Star Wars, but the one thing I did not like about it, and I also depicting a fictional rebellion on TV is fine. It's fictional. When someone gets shot by a blaster or stabbed with a lightsaber, it's not real. It's fiction. It's good fiction. It is able to tell a story. But the trouble is, it glorified terrorism. It's straight up, that show was glorifying, and it wasn't even sci-fi. It was just straight up stabbings, bombings, all that sort of stuff. It was glorifying terrorism, and the way that it justified it was, the way that they justified it was that I even said like this was like a fascist state. They any pretense of fantasy or anything. I mean, it was just pure It's called propaganda. It's probably the most propagandized thing I've ever seen. And when you step into lefty world, I mean, I can. These people are generally believe, and they're sort of brainwashed into thinking that
They want you dead,
they-
AI. They want you dead. They want your family dead and destroyed. People on the right have got to start realizing this.
yeah,
The
and
left
as I
want you
my
dead.
final
The left are the party of murder.
yeah, and my final message is that the debate, not just the college campus stuff, but the debate is over now. There is no more debate. The debate ended today. In my mind, it's gone.
Yeah, we tried to be reasonable for so many years.
I mean,
and they've just
we
got
moved.
worse.
We moved on from the debate some time ago. That guy, he was still embedded in that sort of way of thinking. I mean, it's gone now. It's just gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should have. It should have. They want you dead, guys. I've adopted the policy on X, on Twitter for a long time now, that if a lefty says something to me, I just block them. Don't talk to them. There's no point. You will never, ever convince them of the truth because they hate you. Hang on. Endeavour wants to join us. I was about to close this, but if Endeavour wants to join us, I will do that. So hang on. I'll send him a link. If I can. Honest.
While we're getting him in on the stream, I'll just say I think we need to normalize referring to the Democrats as Democrats from now on.
Yeah, for sure. I don't disagree at all, man. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you see the artwork that Tony Podesta has, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I mean, the thing you need to realize is that Charlie Kirk was absolutely middle of the road, maybe little tiny bit right at Senegal, and the left portray him as an arsehole, and as if he was like AH or somebody, and it's just ridiculous, frankly. It's just crazy.
Guys, if I'm ever taken out by some radical leftists, I want you to well, I'll send you lists of what to do. Iron Duke, wink,
Right.
wink.
Just take a photograph, mate. Just take a photograph.
Yeah,
As they shoot you, you photograph them.
I'll mutter the words Order 66, and you know what to do.
That's all.
We will politicize your death to no end.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll monetize it.
Yeah.
I will. I'll say, send me money for AI. That's
We'll
yeah.
we'll graffiti murals of Caligula in your memory.
Nice.
No, the murals of Mishima politicize your death in that way.
Oh yeah, Mishima. Yeah.
Good evening, Endeavour. How are you going, mate?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Am I coming through?
Yeah. We could.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess it's not going. I guess it's not going too well because just seeing what's going on in the news with Charlie Kirk. I mean, I just wanted to jump on because
a very moderate guy.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to jump on because
middle of the road.
Oh yeah, I mean, I just wanted to jump on because I wanted somewhere to speak about it because it's one of these things. You see all these acts of violence like every week. There's going to be some shooting, some terrorist attack, and it's like you almost become desensitized to it. But I don't know, like this evening, like just seeing that, I just feel gutted. I just feel gutted seeing that because it's just a horrible thing to see. I mean, other than the fact that the guy had a family and he had 2 young children, obviously my thoughts are with his family. But I mean,
yeah.
The thing that I also just find disturbing is I never was a huge fan of his political commentary because I like you said, I always kind of thought of him as a bit middle of the road. But just knowing that, like, because his thing was these debates on college campuses. He'd go to a college campus and debate some 19-year-old left-leaning college student on whatever the issue was, like affirmative action or something like that. I mean that's not the kind of content I like, but just the idea that someone was just like deranged enough to want to murder the man for that. I mean, it's really just sick when you think of it, because this is the kind of society which has been created by just this like malevolent media, educational, and political establishment that it would be. And when they're out there screaming bloody murder about the return of Hitler day in, day out. Well, I mean, it's no surprise that eventually somebody actually internalizes that and goes and murders a man, and now these two young children are going to grow up without a father. It's a horrible thing to see, but I guess it's just like a reminder that we have to win, because, man, I think that a lot of us actually underestimate just how extreme leftists are, because I mean, in this sphere, you run into people who I mean, even myself, you run into these spurgs on the internet, you run into the Wignats, or the guys with the 1488 profiles, and you think of them as like kind of this spurg and stuff, but you just have to remember, like, the average leftist is like that times 10. I mean, I can't imagine like one of these guys going so far as to like kill this like random like lefty political commentator. I don't know. I just find the whole thing
when do we
horrible.
ever do this? Endeavor.
I can't.
When do you ever see anyone on the right do this? Particularly to like the equivalent of Charlie Kirk would be a moderate leftist. Okay.
Yeah, it would be.
It wouldn't even be an extreme leftist. Moderate leftist. You never see people on the right trying to murder moderate.
That would be like murdering like Jimmy Dore or someone like that, or like I mean, it's incredible. Like, I can't imagine. I mean, I don't know. Like, I sometimes wonder. Like, they call us like these far right extremists and stuff, and I mean, I've never thought of myself as an extreme person, but I guess in this kind of thing, I guess I'm somewhat hardcore. But it wouldn't even occur to me to go off to do something like that.
I mean, I would say, Endeavor, just on, and Mitch will also agree, on the eve, like a couple years before the Spanish Civil War, most of the people involved on the nationalist side were just ordinary conservatives, Christian conservatives. They weren't like anything, even by that contemporary time, radical in that sense. I mean, the Phalangist Party was relatively small. It was a very small organization. But this is what happens when the left enacts political violence. It's just what happens. You have to respond, and it's why a lot of people someone on the panel said, Noam Chomsky and people like that always have dissuaded those on the left from enacting political violence, because the right tends to do well in those scenarios. The conservatives and the traditional right.
If you're a lefty and you enact political violence, you are asking the right to do the same thing to you. And the right is a lot more efficient at that shit than the left will ever be.
Well, I mean, the other thing is that, like, even with something
leaving aside Stalin, of course, who
made
Adolf Hitler look like an amateur in terms of mass murder in 1939, but we're not allowed to talk about that, of course. But
So, I mean, but even when you consider something like the attempted assassination against Donald Trump the previous year, I mean, you obviously the person had to have been like a pretty extreme person to do that. But I mean, like, even Donald Trump, he's actually like the president of trying to become the president of the United States. He's an extremely important political figure. So, I obviously wouldn't condone something like that, and I wouldn't do it myself. But it's like you can kind of see where like the impetus comes, that it's something that's actually like extremely consequential.
And Endeavor, Trump survived because he was talking, standing up, and moved quite a lot while he was talking. If you look at poor Charlie Kirk, he was sitting down talking into a microphone about American gang violence, which is mostly black and Latino violence, to be honest. And that's what gun violence kills most Americans by a long way. And he was talking about this, and he wasn't moving much. And poor Charlie Kirk, who is absolute moderate guy, not at all right wing, really. He was just talking about that and how America needed to stop that. And he was murdered with a rifle with a telescopic sight on it from some distance away. And that was pretty fucking obvious as soon as you watched it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a horrible thing that that's what I find so horrible about it. It's just how, like, you know, what I would consider inoffensive Charlie Kirk was.
Mhm.
And then,
100,
you know,
100, yeah. Really,
it's
really not at all extreme. Like, I always thought he was way too moderate, to be honest.
Yeah, we
that was
made
my-
the point.
yeah, it was-
We
that
made
was
the
my
point
thought.
earlier that if he's a target, everyone is.
Yep.
So
I mean, I also made the point, Endeavour, earlier that his style of, you know, approaching people on university campuses was very much like the very OG and somewhat outdated for many people in our circles. You know, it's how you know, Sargon in England many years ago did it. You had, of course, Mar Yiannopoulos. You had Stephen Crowder when he was a you know, sort of a biggish figure then, and you had you know, also Jordan Peterson, people like that. And I'm going back about, you know, over 10 years now, and this feels like that sort of style that many of us remember and grew up with, and content creators who then became you know, sort of their own rights, you know, social media personalities, what have you. This does feel like a significant change. I think that
You
format
can't
is
argue.
gone now.
You can't debate and argue lefties. You just can't. I'm
No,
sorry.
well, that world is gone. It is gone
Yeah,
because
it is.
that
They're
Because that
just
was his
busy.
entire thing. That was Charlie
Yeah.
Kirk's entire thing. It was going to these these wackos on the left and saying, "Here, I would like to debate you." And I kind of thought, I always thought his content was kind of the middle of the road. But, you know, that was his thing. It was like, oh, the left is crazy. I'm going to go and offer them a platform and then exchange ideas. And they killed him for that. And
Yeah.
just
They
the other
murdered
thing
him
that's
for that.
the other what's also just fucked up to imagine is there are all these, you know, dysgenic freaks on places like Blue Sky and Reddit right now who are applauding something like this.
They're celebrating it, and
I mean, because, like, here's the thing as well.
A young
I mean, sure,
dad
there have
with
been
two
far right,
little-
like there have been far right people who have,
Endeavour, a young dad with two little daughters. They're celebrating murdering him. That's how evil these bastards are. They detest you, man.
And, like, the other thing is, like, yeah, sure, there have been far right people who have killed people before, but there has never been a time where you know, mainstream figures on the right, where, like, large swaths are out there, like, celebrating, you know, an act of murder like this.
No.
So, like, not only the fact that it happened, but also the fact that, you know, there are these people out there who are actually celebrating this. Because, I mean, I could imagine that there could be one person to do something like that, but then now that, you know, but now people actually come out and that's just like the norm. But then you have to just consider that, well, they've been this subsumed in this, like, hysterical, just anti-white, well, there's just echo chamber for years on end now, where someone like Charlie Kirk, who literally is just there to discuss their own ideas with them, and just kind of mildly push back on them, that he's deserving of death. It's you know, just horrible thing. Horrible thing. Yeah. Horrible.
A bit of news has come in. Apparently, the FBI says they got a suspect in custody.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well, I guess we'll
they
figure
have.
out. I guess we'll learn a bit more about that then.
I would just say, look, the left is becoming the party of murder. You got to see that. You got to see that.
I think they're
The
already there.
left is becoming the party of murder.
People have been posting an older tweet from Charlie saying about that, about the amount of people on the left who support political assassinations.
Yep.
So,
It's the party of murder. And
Yep.
look, like I said, Charlie Kirk was a middle of the road guy as far as I was concerned. I'm way to the right.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't support some young dad being murdered and depriving his 2 young daughters and his wife of their husband.
And I'll also
and
say
father.
this about Charlie Kirk is that he actually did go to the right on many issues over the years. So
Sometimes, yeah.
you know, he actually did. I mean, he may not have been where we were, but he did make a lot of progress in that direction. So
Oh, listen, Endeavor, he talked about the poor little blonde Ukrainian
Yeah,
girl
and
who was murdered and stuff like that. Yeah.
And I made the post, and then he also not only did he talk about that, he actually did talk about how black on white violence is a major thing, and that's the crux of the issue here. You know, one thing I just posted on social media is, you know, regardless of, you know, whether or not we were fans of his content, just remember that he had this huge platform. Like, he had millions and millions of followers, built up a huge amount of political clout over the years, and he did spend his last several days advocating for a white woman who had been brutally murdered in an anti-white attack.
Yes,
so,
he did. Yes,
you know, I think that's something that we should remember him for, because, you know, he did take a stand for, you know, one of our people who was
he didn't deserve to be murdered by some bastard coward. That's for sure.
I will say, off the back of the Ukrainian girl, he actually used the words on Twitter. We have to politicize your murder, and with his own death, I think we're going to need to politicize his murder.
Yep. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, and man, I mean, I will say also with the situation in America, like, I just don't know. I just don't see any way out of it. It just seems like it's going to be like this is just the new norm. I mean, Trump's got
to strike back, Endeavor.
He's got to do something about it.
He must strike back against this. He's got to.
Yeah, I mean, he has to do something. Like, first of all, they need to find out who the person was. Was it Antifa? Was it BLM? Or was it some Mossad person or something like that? I don't know, but, you know, whoever it was, like, you know, he has to, like, make a sweeping, take a sweeping assault on whatever, like, you know, group or organization or whatever affiliations this person had.
Trump's been doing some good stuff on bringing back safety to American cities, including Washington, D.C. People are saying in the chat he won't do anything. I don't know. Maybe he will. Let's see. Yeah. I hope he does. It's all I can say is I hope he does.
I mean, the only thing that he can do now is, you know, these radical elements, these you know, a lot of, if you remember a few years ago, whenever there was Antifa or Black Bloc, particularly in cities, it was a lot of it wasn't just the students; it was also like the university and college faculties. I mean, quite frankly, if he was to close down every single university and college and, like, you know, remove those people from any positions of power, just, like, you know, all out, like a genuine clear out, this is a good enough reason, as I've seen it, to do it. Yeah.
I don't think he's going to go as far as we would, though, unfortunately.
You know, I mean,
should do something.
I mean, we'll see who it is. I mean, like, I mean, I'm not gonna come and speculate who committed this act, but, you know, just a couple of weeks ago, there was that tranny who went into that church and murdered a bunch of children. You know, I wonder, like, because another problem I've been wondering about is that, like, the whole transgenderism thing. Now, I don't know whether this was behind the Charlie Kirk's assassination, but I mean, we have a recent example of this happening. One thing you're going to see, I think, in the future is because this transgenderism stuff, it's going out. It was a fad, a social fad, which lasted for about 10 years, maybe even less. But this is something which people literally gave their bodies for. Young people, people in their like their teens and early 20s, literally ruined their life for this social fad, which is already going out of fashion. And now you have to think that these are already like extremely neurotic individuals, and
they're very mentally ill.
And
they're
now
mentally ill.
But then combine that with the fact that for a brief period of time they had artificially elevated social status, and now that's being taken away. And you think one of them gets their hands on a gun, that's a recipe for disaster. And you have to also just to remember that there are going to be people like these were people in their teens or 20s, and they've ruined their lives, and they're going to be around for decades. And well, I think you're going to see things like that.
Well, some of them might self-delete, and that wouldn't be so terrible. But whatever.
That is true, because that's what happened with the hippie movement. You had a lot of people who invest themselves in a lot of that activism, that progressive liberal activism, and also in the sort of quasi social sexual liberation stuff and everything. And the trouble is for them, it didn't really achieve anything.
But here's the thing, though.
It didn't achieve, and that's why they resorted to violence in the late 60s and 70s, because there was the avenues that would be that was what happened to them. That was what the course that took, and they just went and had to go into violence.
Well, here's the thing, though. You can cut your hair, ditch the tie-dye t-shirts, and get a real job and put on a suit and then stop being a hippie. With the whole transgenderism stuff, you've ruined your life. Like your body is toast. That's a whole new scale of things. And then just like raise the extremism and neuroticism and just vitriol by 10, and that's what you're going to get with the whole transgenderism stuff. It's going to be like that on steroids.
In about 5 years, we're going to see loads of lawsuits about this from all these.
That's already happened with that Tavistock Center in Britain. They're being sued by thousands of families.
Yeah,
I know somebody who used to work at my workplace who was transgender and has detransitioned a few months ago. As you said, it was like that brief cultural fad point, and now it's gone. I do not know what sort of chemical or hormonal damage has been done, but I wouldn't. I imagine none of it could be good.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it is. Some of the not so bad stuff you can come back from, but plenty of people it's not, though, unfortunately.
You can't come back from that stuff if you really went into it. You can't.
Yeah, I know.
It just there are. I can think of at least one or two girls who were conned into doing that.
Yeah.
They can never be real women again. Guys, all I would say is this. This was only going to be a short stream.
There's
God's peace to Charlie Kirk. And I hope very much that people will help his widow and his two little toddler daughters. I feel immensely for those poor people. He didn't deserve to be vilely murdered, and the left are becoming they're becoming the parties of murder. That's what they are now. Thanks to all my guests. We'll be back on Friday with the history stream we were going to do today, with Mitch and other people, I hope. And all right, we'll see you then. Unless anyone else has anything else they want to say.
This new thing coming in about Charlie. They've got a bit of footage of some figure on a rooftop. Looks like 300 yards maybe away from the target, where he was. So that's It's like that was where he was.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Have they caught him?
Apparently, Kash Patel says they have.
They said they have a
Oh,
person
right.
of interest in custody, but it hasn't been confirmed yet whether or
I
not.
hope so. I hope
I'm hearing it's some person called Omar. That
Is it?
person was Mexican, and apparently it's a tranny.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
Well, I'm not sure if that's confirmed yet or not.
No,
Yeah,
I
but
think we have to
people do
wait
it.
and see. Somebody with the same username went on. I just checked that earlier. Someone with the same username went on Twitter to said, "That's not me. It's somebody who is basically it's like a cropped image or something
Yeah,
that's trying to we'll just wait
some
until
Indian posting slop again, no doubt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yes,
mean, it's too early to say. It'll be, we'll figure it out in the coming days. I mean, I just wanted to get on to just, share my thoughts because, like, it's a horrible thing to see. Like, I thought I'd been desensitized to this kind of thing, but I don't know. I guess not. It's horrible.
he was just a moderate guy. I mean,
Yeah.
I do think. I mean, my final point is, I agree. One thing I hate about social media, and I wish, in many ways, social media, internet is a curse. It's a huge curse because we know the population shouldn't be seeing this sort of level of violence. I mean, and don't get me wrong, violence has always existed, but this sort of level of violence being like in a hyper normalized media way, it's not healthy. It's not right. It's not healthy. It's not, it's desensitized because it's on the screen where it has the allure of not being real, but it is real. That is all real, and that's what happens when you shoot somebody in the neck.
AI, it doesn't do anything to me, but then I've seen this stuff.
I know, Andrew, you're a hardened,
It doesn't do anything to me. I just hope it makes people on the right realize this is what the left want to do to you. People on the right really need to realize the left want to do that, not only to you, but to your wife and your children and your grandchildren. They just do. Who is playing some stupid tune in the background?
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing.
Yeah, I was too.
I simply think I'm on my phone or somewhere. I thought to mute it.
One thing I'd like to say before we wrap up, the Old Glory Club are doing a special stream at midnight UK time. So if people want to watch more of commentary on this, I suggest you go give them a watch once we wrap up.
Yeah, I like many of my American friends are part of the Old Glory Club, so go check that out, guys. All right, gents. I think we've said all we can say on this. R.I.P. Charlie Kirk, and hopefully there'll be something going on to help his widow and his two little daughters. We'll check you later, boys, and thank you to my guests.
Well, thanks for having me on. I'll talk to you guys later.